Welcome to another episode of Lost in the Script TV. How y'all doing? What up, Regina? Peace to Duke in the chat. How you doing, Kiefer? Hopefully all has been good with y'all. Hope you had a stress-free week as possible. We're back with another episode here on Saturday. It was a lot of stuff going on this week. A lot of things came out and then immediately seemed like they got deflated immediately. The balloon popped very quickly, at least we assume, at least as of now. The Jayz situation, a couple of updates and some other stories from a little while ago. We're going to get to it. Hold on, y'all. Let me just set this up. Right. Then we'll get right into it. All right. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. We're gonna start a little light like always. Let me just go right here. All right. I just want to make a quick point on this right here, right quick. Denzel Washington Gladiator II becomes the highest grossing, his highest grossing film, surpassing $325 million worldwide. I just want to make a quick point on this. I do find it, in his case at least, crazy that the two roles that seem to be most prominent in his career for different reasons, one being when he did the cop movie, Training Day. He was this, sleazy scumbag of a police officer. He was awarded for that movie. And then now in this movie, he's once again playing somewhat of a sleazy, conniving, backdoor type of personality, and now it's his highest grossing film in his career. And he like 60-something. So that I just find it, damn. It seemed like he's constantly rewarded for being the antagonist in his movies, which is funny because after Training Day, there would have been a lot of actors that would have typecast themselves and began to do those same type of movies where they're the villain. And he was able to be very careful with the roles he chose and make a very legendary career out of it. But yeah. People says the Jayz story was really disappointing. Oh man, y'all don't even understand. Before the update came out with the, we're gonna get to it later, but man, oh man, I thought we was ready to see the whole thing fall and crumble, but come at the king, can't miss. All right, let me go to this other story. Shout out to Denzel. Now, Virginia King Kong ain't got nothing on me. Yeah, and it's funny too. He's also done the Shakespearean movie, Othello and stuff like that. And then he did I think he did that one twice. He did one back in the day, and then he recently did like a short film version of it that was really good. And now he's doing the sword and sandal type movies, and that's his most success financially, at least. So, congratulations to him. Speaking of people being typecasted, though, we got to talk about a particular person, Jaleel White. Because I heard the movie removed him kissing the man in the Gladiator movie. Yeah. I watched. I don't know if I even talked about the movie. I watched Gladiator II. I watched the movie, and I'm one of those people that may be in a minority. I don't even think the first movie was that good, honestly. But to the people most people, when you see them review the movie, the first thing they'll say is Denzel was the person who actually carried the movie, but the movie itself was kind of thin. It wasn't much going on. It was like a rephrasing of the movie they already did. It was the same storyline. Nothing really changed except in the end, obviously, there's a slight difference in the person who dies. But yeah, it wasn't that good of a movie to me. And Denzel's character was definitely someone who, if they would have fleshed him out even more, because they made him kind of mysterious throughout the movie, you really still don't know what we know what his motives were, at least, but we don't know his background, truly where he's from in the movie. But he probably was the most interesting character in the movie, not just through his acting, but even how he was written. And if they would have fleshed him out more and made him almost the center character or the center antagonist, which they kind of did in the end, it probably would have been a better movie. Honorable says, hey everybody, what up, Honorable? We didn't say, is it worth watching both? I think if you're going to watch it, you should watch the first one. I don't think you have to, but if you want to understand the point of the second story even more, it's probably good to just sit down one day when you got some extra time and just watch the first and the second one. You know, it's not the worst movie ever, but, you know. What up, Pop? What up, Mark? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? All right, so let me go ahead and get to this other character I want to speak on. Jaleel White. He came out and had some comments that I want to talk to with y'all. I'm saying, so you didn't like it. I had it on my Christmas Day movie list. Like I said, if I had to give it a rating, it'd be like a 6, maybe 6.5. It's not a terrible movie. If somebody wants to watch it, I wouldn't try and deter them from watching it. But it ain't, you know. But I've seen many people that really enjoy it. But yeah, if you like the first one, you probably will like the second one. I'll say it like that. Put it like that. All right. Mark says, is that supposed to be an image of Jay-Z with a halo? No. The AI didn't do what I wanted it to do. I wanted it to put shockwaves around him, you know, like reverberations, as echoes around him, how this sent shockwaves through the industry, but it came up with that, and I didn't feel like changing it, so I was a bit lazy. Apologies. All right, Jaleel White on why he thinks Family Matters not considered among best black shows. I'm gonna go ahead and show the clip of him addressing this first.
Being a part of the TGIF brand sometimes makes you feel like you don't completely belong in the pantheon of blackness. You know, blackness has been treated as a very monolithic experience in entertainment. You know, if it's not a hood story, it's not a black story. And, you know, sometimes I feel left out of that, you know, so it's like, you know, like if there's ever a poll and they say, oh, what are your favorite black shows? And, you know, Martin is in there or Living Single or any of those guys, I already know we coming in last. But if there's ever a poll and it's just like your favorite family shows and suddenly Martin's not in there or whatever, all of a sudden we rank really high. And so it's kind of interesting at how we look at ourselves, to be quite honest, even as black folks. And somehow became a symbol for black male nerd culture, to be quite honest. I mean, I know this for a fact. Any brother that grew up in the 80s and 90s, well, 90s and 2000s, wearing glasses, he was told at school he looked like me. He was called Urkel. And he didn't look anything like me, guaranteed. But still, his peers would find a way to call him Urkel, and even girls to that extent.
Well, I'll let him finish. Hold on.
So it's really humbling to see how far nerd culture has come. And really, it's not nerd culture. It's smart culture. It's hobbyist culture. It's skateboarders. And I could never have known in a million years that I would be the face of that. I never could have known that.
Okay. Margot said, what is he talking about? I love watching Family Matters. Pop said, who are you asking? I love Family Matters. It's just a different genre. They said someone done told Urkel wrong. Here's the thing, and I'm gonna get to his second point first about people being called Urkel if they exhibited certain traits like the nerd thing, the glasses. But that's kind of something that black people do. It's not that deep, Kiefer. It ain't. But I'm gonna make a point right quick. We do the same thing with anybody who's big and bald. We call them Debo. We tend to just take characters from movies or whatever, and we place them on people in our real lives. Maybe like 30 to 40% of the nicknames we have in our community is based off of some character from a song or a movie or some form of entertainment. Now, he made this point about in the 90s, I mean, in his era, his Family Matters isn't placed as high because this monolithic idea of we celebrate hood culture. Now, at first, I'm thinking maybe he's saying his story as a person. Maybe he's saying that the show wasn't celebrated because its leading character, him, Jaleel White, isn't from the hood, so it's not celebrated. I wanted to give him that grace to say maybe he's painting it, not the show is hood, but the people in the show don't come from certain backgrounds. Even though the other people on Family Matters were thespians, they were actors, But when he compared it to Living Single and Martin, those weren't hood shows. They didn't glorify hood things at all. I mean, let's be honest. Martin wasn't the most political show. Martin didn't really bring up a lot of politics. I mean, every once in a while, I think there was one episode he wore a T-shirt saying "Free Mike Tyson" or something like that. I think he sort of kind of addressed Ronnie King in a halfway one time during the episode. They were never that political. Now, the most political show out of all of them, as far as that genre, was Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And then you start getting to Different World. Cosby didn't talk politics much. They didn't bring racial aspects to the show very much. They wanted to let you see a very successful, higher upper class family, black family, and not having to deal with, quote unquote, the struggle on television. So when he said this hood thing, I want to say, I'm hoping he's talking about on the individual, but the actual actors, not the characters. That's the only way it would make sense. People say, I love Family Matters. TGIF was great back then. It was. Family Matters was one of those shows, because we were talking about this with Travis, and he was making a point that his character showed us a different view from the idea of this experimental curiosity can be in a young black boy, where he was this genius who was doing all these inventive things and all this other stuff. They did kind of go off a cliff at some point when they started doing certain things, but it wasn't a bad show at all. It was one of the best shows around. But yes, to a lot of people, they may be able to look at a comedy like Martin and on Living Single and stuff and just think it's better. It has nothing to do with us not liking this idea of it not being connected to the hood. Honorable says, industry blacks like this goofy confuse me. They chase race neutral success, but feel entitled to African-American support. It's clear he's uncomfortable around black people, but always talking about us the most. I always said, if you're a black person in entertainment industry, you can be successful without black people, but you won't ever be as successful as you could be if you don't have that base. Like I keep bringing up years ago when Kevin Hart catapulted to just superstardom, when he started to, get a little bit of a bad time there for a few years, when he put a special on Netflix, and a lot of black people were saying it ain't funny. It ain't funny. And he went out of his way to go and interact with these people. He went on Clubhouse. He went on, he was responding to people on Twitter and stuff, because he understands if his base begins to separate from him in Hollywood, when you go to these execs, you have to have proof. Hey, these are to be my supporters. These are people that's always going to show up. And if you start to lose that base, you're going to get less green light. So Urkel seemed like one of those dudes that he did hood movies, which is funny. He got one of the more underrated hood movies. I can't think of it right now. So he did the hood movies, and he seemed to just be, sour taste. Mark says, I was called Urkel. Didn't take it personally. I just saw it as the people finally saw a side of our people that it didn't think exists. That could be a point too, yeah. Family Matters, definitely my top 5 black family shows. But he said Family Matters was a good show, but people tend to gravitate towards who the media heavily pushes. In my humble opinion, Martin pushed gender politics. Yeah, the argumentative thing, the gender politics, or you could say that Martin was the typical. When you go back all the way to the Jeffersons and all these other shows, there's always the same archetype for the characters. Martin was what you expected to see from a black comedy, while Family Matters kind of went off to more like a what's it called? What's that show? I forgot what show Family Matters is even a spinoff of, where it was a little bit slightly different and went kind of the more Cosby-ish route, and people just gravitated towards something they like more, I guess. Honorable says he must define hood shows as any cast members speak Ebonics wearing heel figure intent. Yeah, I said on Twitter, I wanted, do people consider In the House a hood show? Well, LL Cool J, I think it was. Do they consider? Now there was most shows back then. I think that's the most diverse era for black entertainment, because you had the South Centrals that only lasted a season. You had the few shows where they showed single motherhood. For the most part, the shows were more professional. I mean, the characters were professional living, working class. It wasn't typically the hood thing that came on television. So he got all the backlash for this. People kept bringing up who he's married to and use that as a reason why he's saying the things he's saying. But I think he just look at his career and being typecast, and as I think what Honorable said, I think he feels like he just don't get the support from black people that he think he deserves. probably was it was the best era for black television shows, especially. It was the best. I'm gonna show. I think we can move on now. The people was getting on his ass too. All right. Now, speaking of gender politics, they say I got that clip. Yeah, okay. I want to show this right here. Nikki Giovanni's legacy lives through the writers who knew and were inspired by her. First, I want to say rest in peace. Rest in peace. But in the midst of her passing, a video was posted of a conversation she had that made me think of how back then we kind of have mischaracterized a lot of these people who we consider these pro-black people from back in the day, and these thought leaders for us and all this other stuff. How a lot of them kind of moved in a way that we didn't pay attention to until now. The poet and professor who died this week touches countless students, poets, writers, activists, and readers with her warmth and her words. But in particular, I want to show a discussion she had with, what's his name? I'm going to show the video where they were speaking on the intraracial relationship between, obviously, black men and black women. And I want to know what y'all think about this. I can't recall no episodes of Family Matters, but we watched it. That's the impact of the show. He should be glad he even mentioned at all. Dude is the real Black Carlton because the other dude ain't really black. I love that conversation between her and James Baldwin. Rest in power. Yeah, I'm going to play some of this now, and I want to make a point right afterwards.
Everybody's jiving, but let's jive on that level.
If I love you, I can't lie to you.
Of course you can lie to me, and you will. If you love me and you're going off with Maddie someplace, you're lying to me. Because what the hell do I care about the truth? I care if you're there. What Billie Holiday say, hush now, don't explain.
All right, I accept that.
Of course
All
right, you'll lie to me,
that.
because I don't even want to care. What does the truth matter? And why are you going to be truthful with me when you lie to everybody else? You lied when you smiled at that cracker down the job, right? Lie to me, smile. Treat me the same way you would treat him.
I can't treat you the way I treat him.
You must. Because I've caught the frowns and the anger. He's happy with you. Of course he doesn't know you're unhappy. You grin at him all day long. You come home and I catch hell. Because I love you, I get least of you. I get the very minimum. And I'm saying, fake it with me. Is that too much of the black woman to ask of the black man? So everybody...
Oh, boy. Okay. Arnold says they fought to lay off with whites, the end, and that's their legacy. I remember I saw this years ago. I was much younger. And the person who was watching this, and I saw it through them, they made this point where they were saying, what she's saying in this video is both, it could be considered insane, but it makes sense. To ask someone that loves you to lie to you, because only when you lie to me or do you seem happy can we be happy. I could never agree with that. But once again, you can understand why someone would say it. But I want to say this. When she told him, you go out to them and you lie because you smile, and then you come home to me and you tell me the truth, it reminds me of a certain demographic amongst our community that makes this point about struggle love. And how being in a relationship in America in the black community can be so draining because it's a constant struggle. And so some of these people, like these two here, make the decisions to date out. Another thing that was very funny to me was both these people are not just dating interracially, but they're both homosexual. So you have a homosexual man and a lesbian woman having a discussion about the relationship between black men and black women, and the woman is telling the man to lie to me. Anonymous says, I support this clip. I'm tired of black men truth on these podcasters. Well, we already spoke about the idea of the podcast boom. not just the people during the pandemic and stuff, but social media in general has led to an opening of Pandora's box where, for the first time, to me, from what I know throughout history, this is probably the first time in history where Black people, particularly Black men, had the ability to create their own platform and speak freely and stand on what they say. But, you know, too much of anything is a bad thing. Virginia says, as a Black woman married to a Black man for 37 years, she told no lies. Just depends on the couple plus Black people all Westerners tend to love based upon European standards. Well, this goes back to, and I know a lot of people don't follow this, but when you follow the Bible, it tells a man to not tell his wife everything. And this is where I can agree. You don't need to tell every bad thing going on in your head, every thought you have. Some things can be left to just ponder on your own. But in today's era, because we were told through media that we should be honest, and being an honest man is a sign of masculinity and stuff, which it is. And it led to people just kind of wearing their emotions on their sleeve. So now a man that's going through all type of trials and tribulations, getting his ass kicked all day, when he gets home, it's the only time he can be quote unquote honest. And now you're telling him in his own home he should lie. I mean, what comfort is that for him? But I understand. All right, quick story I want to show on this story that just popped back up. Hold on, y'all. Crystal Mangum admits to fabricating 2006 Duke lacrosse scandal accusations. I remember this when this happened. I remember all on the sports TV shows and everything. It was just everywhere. And apparently she came out and said this.
And I testified falsely against them by saying that they raped me when they didn't. And that was wrong. And I betrayed the trust of a lot of other people who believed in me. And made up a story that wasn't true because I wanted validation from people and not from God. And that was wrong. And I hope that they can forgive me.
I saw this and I said, oh, Lord, we're going to have to see this on social media for the next couple of days. But it kind of almost came and went. I want to say, in this story, because I was much younger when this actually happened, I didn't understand the details of it, but now I'm realizing it's been said that she was a stripper who was there at a bachelor's party. It's whatever happened, she ended up accusing these dudes of whatever, these white dudes. And I remember these dudes lost their scholarships. They were kicked out of the school. They were defamed. So I didn't even know it was a black girl. I did not know back then. Almost says that we now have enough data to see why they should have never been given platforms to speak freely. Too many individuals not considering how this will affect the community moving forward. Well, I don't think every effect on the community is negative. I still believe, y'all may disagree, that little run that Kevin Samuels had a tremendous impact on the culture. Extreme impact. There's still people who's trying to do his content like he did it and not really able to keep up with it. But I believe everything said on these mics that people disagree with isn't a bad thing. Virginia says, a very interesting, what is being unveiled, revealed, confessed to, yada, yada. Exactly. I'm showing this because we're in December and there's still this constant opening of the floodgates of just everything that's happened in the last 20, 30 years is just being flipped on its head. I didn't know this girl was black, though, that did this. Oh, yeah. Let me show this. Well, this guy right here.
I just can't let that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court...
if you remember that, well, that guy has now been sentenced, and they definitely gave him threw the whole book at him. Man who leaped over bench to attack Nevada judge gets decades in prison. A courtroom video recorded Deborah Ridden as he ran up and attacked Judge Mary Kay Hawkless at his sentencing hearing. He was given 26 to 65 years in a Nevada prison for the attack on Judge Mary Kay, in Clark County District Court on January 3rd, according to court reports. In September, he cited mental illness and pleading guilty to attempted murder and other charges, including battery by a prisoner. Keeper says, best clip of the year. All right, what we thinking? Do we think 26 to 65 years is a bit much for assault, pretty much in the courtroom? I've seen people say when you have somebody who's a public official, they represent a certain idea of law and authority. You can't have people willing to not respect that by putting their hands on them. So you have to make sure any punishment on those people is very hard so that it deters anybody else from doing it. But on the other hand, if this dude is a mentally ill dude, which he clearly is, to jump over a bench and beat on a judge, giving him 26 to 65 is a bit much. And it seems like this has nothing to do with the other charges that is put against him. This is just for the attack on her, apparently. Yeah. Because it's a little harsh, maybe 17. Yeah, that's the exact numbers that I said. I said 7 to 10 would have been more than enough. When you start 26, 65, I get it. It was a big story. The bigger the story is, some people feel like the harsher the punishment should be. But, yeah. I agree with Kiefer regarding Super Black Man in the courtroom. Pop says this dude had a crazy rap sheet. I know, I understand, but once again, the 26 to 65, from what I'm reading, is not for the other stuff on the rap sheet, not for the other charges that he pleaded guilty to. This is for the attack in the courtroom. So he's pretty much not getting out. And I guess you could say if somebody's willing to jump over a bench and attack a judge, they probably not safe to be around people in society. They're probably erratic with their behavior. They might do something. He's accused of attempted murder, obviously, so I get it. Fuck that nigga. I live in Vegas. Keep them fools on. Hey, I understand. We're going to get to another one of those situations with the Jordan Neely thing. Something else popped up in New York. I want to see what y'all think about that. But I can understand if somebody's out here threatening to kill people and all type of assault charges, and then they put hands on a judge, you know, I get it. But I will say, I hope the punches that he landed on her was worth it, because they gave him everything he asked for with that sentence, though. All right. Hope the punches landed good, man. Another quick update. Florida woman sentenced to 25 years for fatally shooting neighbor through door. Susan Louise, 60, was convicted of manslaughter for killing unarmed A.J. Owens in case that tested the limits of the state's so-called stand your grounds law. So she was given 25 for shooting the woman through the door, you know, because the kids and all the other stuff. So I guess that's justice. Marco said only thing missing in that video was the Batman poop. I should have edited that in. Pop says, think on this. He stay out and mess around. He would catch them poo eventually. Yeah, that's true. But congratulations to that form of justice. He got 25 years. Hopefully there's some form of justice for the family. Keep it saying, I hope he's able to be rehabilitated, though. Yeah, but unfortunately, with those type of sentences, it don't work out well. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and jump to this right here. Hold on. Because it's funny you said that, because I keep asking this question every time we talk about cases like this. Does prison reform people? Let me show this. Now, this dude is stupid. I'm sorry. The Super Black Man. Philadelphia man exonerated for murder after 24 years to return to prison for separate killing. Sean Thomas, 50, was convicted of slaying a businessman in 1992 and later sentenced to life in prison. He was exonerated in 2017, and the city paid him $4.1 million. Now Thomas has pleaded guilty to third-degree felony murder after killing 38-year-old Akeem Edwards last year over a $1,200 drug debt. He's now expected to serve a significant remainder of his life behind bars. Upon his exoneration, Thomas met Keitra Vesey through a network of other exonerated individuals who reportedly asked her to connect him to Edwards, who had been his childhood friend, to see if he would sell cocaine to him. The two men met up and Thomas gave Edwards a sandwich bag filled with drugs. He told Edwards to bring him $1,200 in profits, but the man never paid him. In January 2023, Thomas and Vesey were driving through a neighborhood looking for Edwards and spotted him, got out of the car, and shot him dead, according to the outlet. Prosecutors said that Thomas reportedly told her it was his third homicide and he can't go back to jail. He then warned her to keep quiet about the killing or else. Mr. Trump got Daniel Penny Super Bowl box ticket. Oh, we're going to get to Daniel Penny in a minute. This case right here kind of goes to what people say about, he was in prison for 24 years. By the time he got out of prison, he was not the same person. But even though he's saying that was his third body, so it seemed like he did kill people before he went to prison. The body they caught him for wasn't one he actually did, got out, killed someone else, and he had $4.1 million. And you killed a man for $1,200 because of principle. Lord have mercy. Arnold says he took $4 million and did what with it for $1,200? Like I said, he was just institutionalized, not just for the prison system, but in his neighborhood, his community, local community, because that's just stupid. That's just silly. That's just some of the dumbest shit I ever seen in my life. $1,200? You got $4.1 million. Why are you still in that area? Now, I will say, I understand when people go to prison and they get out, their friend group, unfortunately, remains to be people who were in prison with them who also got out. So now your friend group is all felons like you are. And so you have this circle of people who's supposed to be some deterrent to go back to prison because, everybody's saying, we don't need to go back. Let's just stay on a straight and narrow. But a lot of times that ain't the case. Somebody you serve 24 years in prison. Prison is not prison anymore. It's a second home. Like, I'm sure when he was in prison, I know people in prison, and once that you get past that 5-year mark of somebody serving long sentences, no offense, and it's not a great thing, but people forget about you. Being in prison for 20 years is equal to being dead, honestly, to the outside world. People got their own lives, they got family, children. Once you get to that type of time, people forget about you. So I can imagine when he got out, it wasn't much of a warm welcome. Well, with that $4.1 million, it probably was. Almost 24 years, he wanted to go home to his boyfriend. And that's another thing. Unfortunately, a lot of these dudes, lifestyle changes when they get in there. And like I said, that's home to them. Outside is not home. The world becomes too big for them. They're so used to being in these giant rooms in prison. They're so used to just walking around in these cells that when they get out, the world is just too big for them. They can't function. They can't think. So they just need to go back to where they used to. I'm going to say this is the first I'm hearing about one of them getting out of jail, getting millions, and not married some white that helped on the case. I just found a white woman to be saving lives. Well, I did see the pictures of him when he got out, and the white lawyer, I guess that was his lawyer or whatever, attorney, she definitely was hugged up on him pretty tight. She was hugged up on him pretty tight, but I don't think that was his stilo. He wanted to go back home. Anyway, speaking of a stupid court system, I'm going to show this. I'm going to run through this first tab. Florida woman charged with threatening health insurance company with delay, deny, depose. So you remember the shooter, Luigi, Leslie shot the dude, put that on the bullets. So now you have these people, there's this class warfare that's going on right now, at least on social media, where all these people who have all this frustration with insurance companies and stuff, they're starting to be very threatening to these people. They're very cheerful, obviously, of people getting killed, this dude getting killed. But this woman here, she was on the phone with one of these insurance companies, and before getting off the call, she said, delay, deny, depose, you guys are next. They have now charged her with terroristic threat and all type of stuff. They're saying, and they refer to her as the CEO shooting copycat You know how they have these serial killers that kill people and then somebody copied them and they refer them as the copycat. They're calling her a copycat of that guy, even though she didn't kill anybody. And she said she don't even own a gun. Pop said, okay, I'll take it back. That's is a ton of time for that crime. That man does not that man does need rehabilitation though. Are you talking about the courtroom? Yeah, I said 7 to 10 would be good. Brenda Boston 42 told the representative of Blue Cross Blue Shield, delay, denied, deposed, you people are next, as they ended a phone call Tuesday in which she unsuccessfully challenged the company's denial of her insurance claim. Lakeland police said on the recording shows the words delay, denied, deposed was written on the castings, yada, yada, yada. Luigi, they went into who he is. Boston was arrested and charged with threatening to conduct an act of terrorism. She was being held without bail Friday at the Polk County Jail. Court's records do not show whether she has an attorney, and the phone listing of her home address was disconnected. The charge is a second-degree felony, which could be punished by up to 15 years in prison if she's convicted. Yeah, they scared. They scared as hell. They're afraid these people are going to start pulling the gun. Hold on. Damn, somebody whooped Jamie Foxx's ass again? Damn. Somebody hit Jamie Foxx in the mouth with a bottle. Okay. So I just got this update. Hold on. Well, okay. So then they're afraid of these civilians, the regular civilian, from harming them, but I don't think much is gonna happen. Although I will say, like I said last time, if school shootings can become a trend, then watch your back. Now I want to show y'all this dude right here. Somebody referred to this as the final season, not the final season, but the final the season finale of the new season of America. Yeah, breaking news. Somebody whooped Jamie Foxx's ass again. All right. Let me show this right quick.
Earlier today, you talked about the masks possibly being related to coronavirus. Could you elaborate on that?
Well, I don't know where you all are from, but I still see people wearing masks. They say numerous masks. A lot of times when you buy masks, you got to buy them. You know, they don't. I guess you can buy them individually, but every time I bought them, they come in boxes. So I don't know. All I can tell you is that's not a crime. It's not a crime.
Did your client indicate to you that the reason for the masks was because of the COVID?
I would.
So the lawyer saying the reason why he was wearing the mask, talking about the Luigi character, was because of COVID. You know, he's still making sure he protects himself from COVID. Don't get to it in Busby. Honorable says threat over the phone is crazy. What precedent is the case about to set? Well, it's communicating a threat, a terroristic threat. That's already a crime. So whether you do it on the phone or in person, I think that it's a very first degree. I don't know. What did I want from this? I'm sorry. We can move on. Oh, so he went to jail, or he's arrested, I'll say, and people were assuming that he's going to go to jail. These political pundits, these talking heads on these news channels, they were saying that when he goes to jail, he's going to be attacked and all this other stuff, but that ain't quite what happened.
This was just from a few hours ago, and here they are, 10 o'clock as promised. They said earlier today, tell Ashley Banfield that Luigi is watching at 10 o'clock. I mean, obviously, you know, that's just a hard roast at this point because they're not near Luigi in any way.
Can I just ask the guys, if they can hear me right now, to answer yes or no very loud. Does Luigi have television in his single cell?
No.
Unreal. They said no, right? Obviously,
They
we
said
have a little
no.
bit of a
He
delay,
doesn't
but
have
they're
a TV,
getting.
and that's-
Yeah, they're getting the questions, and they're giving us the
They're
answers. So
getting
Luigi
it.
does not have. Wow, this is quite something. This is the strangest interview I've ever conducted.
Me too, Ashley. You know, according to the Department of Corrections, he's got his own solitary cell. It's not solitary confinement, but he's by himself. It's not dorm style. I'm not sure exactly what those guys got going on in terms of a living situation. It sounds like they're all clustered together. Isn't it interesting to see what accommodations that they have? They got their own light switches. They're obviously watching TV.
They're all doing
past
it.
any sort of 10 o'clock curfew, you know. Yep, they're
Oh my
doing this for
gosh,
you.
look
They're
at this,
watching
Alex.
News Nation.
All right, Honorable says they ignore online threats every day. With some of them, like I said, I remember a couple years ago, a person made a threat to go shoot up their school, and the very next day that person's house was swatted. So some threats they don't take serious. People said this was hilarious. I'm actually indifferent on the subject. Yeah, the stuff surrounding this case is just so strange. We went through the conspiracies last week, but yeah, it's a lot of strange things. Also, apparently, and I didn't verify this, I see all these I seen a lot of women on social media swooning over him. Apparently, women wasn't his stilo. And keep it going. Think this is funny. I don't know if this is true or not, but it seems like old Luigi likes to deal with black men. Apparently. Oh man, these twists and turns in these stories, right? So apparently, this dude Luigi had a few black men that he was dealing with in a couple states, different area codes. I should have that song, hoes in different area codes. Shout out to Luigi. I mean, shout out to Ludacris, Luigi. Yeah, so y'all on the internet swooning over him, and he was never y'all was never his type. Please understand. He bad for the other team. Anyway, Anonymous said, did y'all read the manifesto? So was he filtering with a black man at a McDonald's? Oh, was he flirting? Oh, yeah, you're right. They did say in the beginning that that it was a woman that he was flirting with, which is why he took his mask down. But now it's coming out that he was, gay, apparently. Mark says, Super Mario Bros. Richmond says, I want to meet Luigi. Honorable y'all, question mark. Keeper says that he's looking for his toast. Yeah, which is funny because now that whole him going to jail thing and going to have some problems, it looked totally different. You got plenty of options in there, I guess. In prison, in jail. Oh man, no, I didn't read the manifesto because I think it's BS, honestly. Although I'm gonna show this video right here, and it might make me go back and read that manifesto. But let me play this right quick. And these people don't completely took J. Cole's song and just turned the whole meaning of it. I remember back in like 2009 when you play those Illuminati videos and they would have that same song in the background. Represent law, the twists and turns. They used to have that same song in the background on all those Illuminati videos. Now they replaced it with J. Okay, so in this video, this white guy just found a way to connect all this stuff to the number 286, which leads to Proverbs 286, where he talks about the poor man walketh up in righteousness. This is one of those videos they do on TikTok where they take something and stretch it, but the fact that so many of these things connect in his stories, and not just this, I'm talking about in general, it makes me want to go back and read that manifesto, not because I think he actually wrote it, but because he might just be another one of these, people that's sent out to do something, a hitman of sorts, what we used to, a Manchurian candidate or something. Because there's too many things to line up where either he's just a genius, and he might be crazy, either he's a genius who is very meticulous in planning, or this was stuff that was put together and he was just sent out to just simply, pop somebody and keep it moving. Mr. Dude was crazy as cat shit. Yeah, when they showed the video or the picture that came out of him in the McDonald's, he did look like a person who was pretty disturbed, and But we'll see in the new season next year of America how they continue this story, if they do. All right. Well, this ended in the way we kind of expected, honestly. Veteran Daniel Penny acquitted in New York City subway chokehold will join Trump's suite at a football game. I think it's an Army Navy game, college football game he's supposed to show up to. So he was acquitted of it, of all charges. Then I want to show this too. Black Lives Matter leader calls for black vigilantes following Daniel Penny verdict. I want to start with saying that this is one of the dumbest things you could do in public. I don't know him. He might have well intentions, or good intentions, or whatever. But I was always told when somebody gets on a large platform, or at least publicly, and call for black people to commit violence, they normally the feds. You probably should stay away from them and not indulge in anything they say. It's time to ignore them and move on. But let me show what he had to say.
He's public.
Oh, that's not it. Hold on.
We need some black vigilantes.
That's right.
People want to jump up and choke us and kill us for being loud. How about we do the same when they attempt to oppress us?
Right.
I'm tired.
Are we doing this, y'all? Are we going to see these black people go around in the next couple months and commit these acts of vigilantism and try to to redeem the situation? We did see it with Dallas a few years ago, where the thing happened to the guy in Louisiana, and he ended up in Dallas and popped stuff off, ended up getting blown up. But I don't think we're going to commit those type of things anymore. Let me show this one.
Officials would do something so self-serving.
But how does it serve them to hurt you?
Just political gain. I mean, these are their policies that are, and I don't mean to get political. I don't really want to make any enemies, really, although I guess I have already. But I mean, these are their policies that have clearly not worked, that the people, the general population, are not in support of, yet their egos are too big just to admit that they're wrong.
Let me say this. That change your appearance thing to look different in court really works. When we first saw a picture of him and he had his little mustache, he looked like a dude who was in the military. Cutting that mustache completely changed his image. He don't look like he's really that dangerous all of a sudden. But yeah. Virginia says never thought about it, but he does sound like an agent. Whatever people need to do to stay safe, keep to yourself and act accordingly. Keeper says minding your own business is the best thing anyone can do. I disagree. The only problem I have with this whole situation, as I said before, there's no need. You have 3 people. Just hold somebody down. Now, it's not your job to do this. I understand. Being someone as a citizen willing to stand up and deal with someone, subdue someone who's seemingly a danger to the rest of the people, it ain't your job to do it. I get it. But when you have that many people, it shouldn't be that hard to just hold someone down. That's just kind of this is a simple point I've been trying to make. Mr. Man says black people know better. We are to train not to attack white police. I'm gonna say, is it strange there is a collective lack of interest in this case? Not too many African Americans I know anything about the case. It also feels like people are trying to use it to make us angry. Well, I think it's because there's a lot of people, especially people who live in New York and live in metropolitan cities or whatever, who deal with public transportation, and saying, look, on these buses and trains and stuff, it'd be some crazy, weird people. Him making the decision to do this and it leading to someone's death, some people are chalking it up to just a bad situation all around and trying to just move on. It's because I've heard plenty of black people make the point, hey, unfortunately he died, but on these buses in public transportation, I saw someone say that I think they lost a little brother. They lost their little brother on one of these public transportation, and they said they wish someone would have stepped up and did something. They understand in this situation you would have liked it to go a different way. Was he actually a threat? Was it necessary to go about it this way? But, things happen, unfortunately. Virginia said 2024 is definitely the year of white man Manchurian candidates and conspiracy theories becoming conspiracy facts. It definitely is. I would say hearing someone say they hungry and want to harm themselves wouldn't alarm me to think I'm in any danger. That's just part of being overlooked here. Well, once again, it's New York. in my opinion, it started with, if New York is what we, because I've never been there, but from all the footage I've seen over my lifetime of the crazy stuff that happened on trains, I would think a dude threatening people on the train wouldn't raise this much, attention, but it did. Virginia says, imagine the amount of murders that could result of people being a public nuisance. Kiva says, I wish you would have pulled up the criminal history. Well, yeah, a lot of attacks, a lot of assault cases. I think they say he punched a 70-year-old woman. So once again, he was off his rocker. He clearly was dealing with a lot of mental issues and stuff. But yeah, I just think it could have been held, done a lot differently. But once again, I wasn't there. So in the heat of the moment, you making a quick decision, I understand. Mark says some of the homeless are mentally ill. Didn't Reagan play a part in getting rid of mental hospital centers? Yeah. Honestly, he didn't threaten anyone. Kiva says he tried to abduct a little girl on the train. He was going around punching old women in the face. That's why I say it's a sad situation all around. Clearly, he was a person who needed help. But the main person I was on last week was the father coming out trying to put a lawsuit up. There's no way in hell you have a son who's seemingly homeless and clearly going through all this stuff, and y'all don't deal with him. It seems like y'all ain't really dealing with him. Then when someone has to deal with him on the train because he's possibly a threat to people, now you come out talking about a lawsuit wanting some money. That's just crazy. Let's move on. All right, let me show this and tell me if no one is there to do something, it could end this way. Said the criminal history has no bearing on the moment when the white man woke up and decided to kill. In that moment, he complained of being hungry and talked about harming himself, no one else. Well, that's the same thing people say with the George Floyd situation. And Lord knows, the obsession with George Floyd by some of these white people is insane. Like everything that happens that becomes a national news story that involves a black person who's killed or harmed and it's a white person involved, George Floyd name becomes the #1 trending topic. It's just insane. But with George Floyd, a lot of people kind of justified what happened to him by saying, well, he had counterfeit money. Allegedly, he punched a pregnant woman. Allegedly, he was robbing people back in the day or whatever crimes he committed. So in that moment, even though he was on the ground or whatever, he's not a good Samaritan. He's not, a perfect person. So whatever happened to him is what happens. And I'm like, no, it doesn't matter what crimes he committed or what he's accused of. In that moment, he don't deserve to get killed. Kiva said clearly he needed help. Dad not there, and Black Lives Matter only come out when they want publicity. Exactly, I agree with that completely. Let me show this right quick. Now this is a. Let me just play it.
Yeah. I know I will. I'll get you down.
Now keep in mind, this is a white dude verbally attacking an Asian dude. For some reason, he calling him a nigga.
I'll punch you down in your seat. Punch you down. Yeah. Chinese.
Yep.
Oh, you think I'm afraid of you?
Never said that, sir.
Now, this is when you put hands on somebody. This is when it's like, all right, somebody step in. And I want to show one more.
Stop it. Stop it.
It's a clearly a dude who's mentally unwell. It's a black dude. Keeper says, oh no. Keeper says, I want to know what happened to the National Guard on the trains. I think they already brought it. Was it Hochul or was it, what's the name that put them in there? They said that crime got, I remember a couple months ago when they did that, I would listen to a podcast. They said the crime didn't change much. In some areas, it almost got worse. Virginia says, until he turned around, I thought it was just a light-skinned Negro. I said, the whites triggered by George Floyd have are the new anchor baby wave. They know nothing of American history, and it was a big thing for them to witness the international impact. Yeah, I feel like, let me ask this question. I just thought of this on right now. I wonder if those white people that obsess over George Floyd, are they angry do they believe that the George Floyd situation, because it was an international story, it completely took over the world for like 2-3 months. Do they believe it hurt the image of America and the ethnic image of white people, and is that why they're angry? Because there's this trad wife, this save white people movement that's been growing on social media, especially the last 4 or 5 years, that it seems like that's a lot of anger, and how that moment to a lot of people feel like it changed their perception to the rest of the world, at least America and particularly white Americans. I wonder if that's part of the anger. Now, this is what happened on public transportation. I've seen people, and y'all let me know if y'all agree with this. I've seen people say that this is how you're supposed to handle these people. You're supposed to ignore them like they're not there. In the first case with the white dude putting hands on and talking crazy to the Asian dude, no. You probably should go ahead and subdue him and do something with him. But this guy, I'm probably not going to stand there and let someone walk around the train throwing punches in people's faces, even though he's not hitting them. That's insane. These are the cases where if this was what was happening with Jordan Neely, the whole situation would be different. Mark says, I think it embarrassed white America, like the assassination of MLK. It has to be what it is, because George Floyd is almost like he's turned into a saint for them. I know that's not considered a negative thing, but he's turned into somebody they use as inspiration to say and push certain movements that they have. Like, it's like a proof when something changed to them. Anonymous says, funny many of those people trying to protect white spaces aren't even considered white by whites. So they fight to maintain the American dream they heard so much about. Yeah, like that Myron dude from Fresh and Fit. He got told by the white dude, you're not white enough to be in this room. It sounds like teenagers. It's so crazy how crazy they sound. They tell people quick, you're not white enough to be in here. This is for whites only, the spaces. It'd be hilarious. Yeah, I saw a whole back and forth. There was an Asian dude on social media who was going in on black people, racist as hell, talking crazy about black people. He said something about black people what they call it, blackfishing anime characters, turning these anime characters into black people. And he was talking against that. He was Japanese. And so the white people came in and was trying to laugh with him, and he started going in on the white people, and it turned into a race war between whites and Japanese people, and it was just hilarious. That you could tell these are delusional people that think that because of the Japanese dude was telling the white dudes, y'all are dying off and you can't do nothing about it. And the white people was telling the Japanese, y'all numbers are low, y'all gonna be dead in how many years. I'm looking around like, both of y'all are basically saying it's over. What up, Dre? What's good? I'm gonna say, what was that not shadow? Was that not shadow boxing? What's the problem? Now, Arnold, stop it. You know damn well some random person is walking up to you in public and punching towards your face and stopping, and you ain't just gonna be cool with it. My pop said, I'm tired of crazy people. Mark said, like a martyr. Yeah, not a martyr because he didn't sacrifice himself for them. It's just they've turned him into some entity for them. Like they use that as inspiration to just as a proof of a problem almost. It's strange. They're obsessed with him. It's crazy. Honorable says, we have to remember George Floyd was also used to create legislation for people of color in many countries. The impact was overwhelmingly for those who were trying to maintain the white status quo they dream of. Yeah, that's true as well. Dre says, those anime characters usually are racially ambiguous. Well, no, they're actually not. At least the westernized versions of them, or a lot of the times, these anime characters, they make them blonde hair, blue eyes. You know, whenever there's a character you're supposed to like, they make them white, pretty much. All right, I'm just gonna run through these headlines right quick. Stuff we already know. Buyers home appraisal steal $150 billion from black home wealth. We know this. That's the wealth. Ownership, home, land. That's the actual wealth. Son of New Mexico FBI agent arrested in connection to shooting and death of a 13-year-old boy. A young boy was shot by, as it said, an FBI agent's son. He's connected to it. The son of a federal agent was recently arrested and named the second suspect in a fatal shooting of a 13-year-old boy in Albuquerque, New Mexico, back in August. Thomas Ace, 21, was arrested on December 5th after investigators tied him to the death of Michael Tubb, 13, who was shot and killed while in a vehicle that Ace had allegedly been firing upon during an August 18th incident. I wish they would get that dude out of Chicago, the one who was killed and rolled up into the mat in the gym. And his alleged killer was his father was apparently tied to some agency, and we got nothing from that. I wish that story would finally get the attention it deserves. You know, every few years somebody would make a whole doc about it, and nothing will come from it. Dre says facts. That's what I'm saying. Though they usually look white or maybe even Hispanic. Yeah, they be making Eduardo's and some Chad or something. They never really look Asian, you know. I'm gonna run through this too. We're gonna get to this Jay-Z thing. Amba says, outside of Arabs and most of us, what other group have been resistant to whites? Asking because Asians treat them people like gods. I remember when somebody compared Asians to robots. How as a demographic, they kind of pick a goal, and the entire culture moves to that one goal. They're very, they seem, I know this is stereotypical or whatever, but they seem kind of emotionless in certain things. So they don't carry the same pride, I guess, in the same way at least. They have pride in their demographics or their race or their ethnicity, nationality, whatever, but they don't have that same inability or unwillingness to just take the L, even if it means standing on your square. They're willing to conform a little bit because they planning on in 300-400 years, we're going to be running this. They look at a numbers game. We have so many people in our country and y'all are dying off, like we'll outlive you. So yeah, you can run it right now, but we're going to be here long after y'all are gone. White House says New Jersey drones not from foreign country as lawmakers demand answers. Let me just show this. Project Blue Beam.
They're just pacing back and forth, going very slow. It's 2, 3. See how low they are? They go right below the tree line. I think I counted about 3. They seem to also like follow each other. They go in the same direction.
And I found out, but it's supposedly UFO, but they're saying they're calling it drones right now. But I just found out recently that there's a place, North Bergen, I don't know how you say it, New Jersey. It seems to be the place with the most UFO sightings in the country. North Bergen, New Jersey. I just found that out. So it's funny how all these reports are coming out of New Jersey right now. Now, let me show this right here. It says, U.S. Senator says mysterious drone spotted in New Jersey should be shot down if necessary. U.S. Senator has called for the mysterious drone spotted flying at night over sensitive areas in New Jersey and other parts of the mid-Atlantic region to be shot down if necessary, even as it remains unclear who owns the unmanned aircraft. We should be doing some very urgent intelligence analysis to take them out of the skies, especially if they're flying over airports or military bases. Remember the balloon from earlier this year? Was that this year? There's so much stuff don't happen this year. Wasn't the balloon from some country? Wasn't that balloon that came over America a few months ago that they had to shoot down? Says, I always feel the anger towards the African-American men is mostly due to their failure to sell women and children and how great whites are. While every other people color group in the world, non-Arab, did right by whites. Mr. said, we never seen the fake 20. China. Yeah, it was China. So this seems to be something to do with that. This might be just some more war games that they're trying to paint as UFOs and drones. People in New York region are also concerned that the drones may be sharing airspace for commercial airlines, he said, demanding more transparency from the Biden administration. The White House said Thursday that the review of the reported sightings shows that many of them are actually manned aircraft being flown lawfully. White House National Security spokesman John Kirby said there is no reported sightings of it in any restricted airspace. He said the U.S. Coast Guard has not uncovered any foreign involvement in coastal vessels. So, yeah, New Jersey drone swarm spotted coming in off the ocean. They just said that that's not true. Let me show you.
3 mystery drones in the air.
So this is a dummy mission distraction. Groceries too high for us to worry about UFOs. Yeah.
Wild. That was really quick.
It's kind of just gonna keep replaying. Let's jump to this.
The drones in New Jersey in Morris County.
The last thing on this, and we move forward.
Mayor sent a letter to you this morning asking for a clarification. What can you tell us? What is going on, and why is it taking so long to come up with an explanation?
Yeah, it's a good, I don't blame people for being frustrated. Let me say, most importantly, right up front, we see no evidence, and I say we, this includes Homeland Security, FBI, Secret Service, our state police, authorities at all levels of government. The most important point to say is we don't see any concern for public safety. That's number one. Number two, having said that, it's really frustrating. That we don't have more answers as to where they're coming from and why they're doing what they're doing.
Now, this is the part that's silly, and we'll move on. You're not going to convince me that America don't know what objects is flying in this airspace, didn't see it coming, and don't know what it is. That's just, you're not going to convince me of that. It's like when you want me to believe that Israel didn't know what was going to happen with the Hamas situation. They didn't know way beforehand there was going to be explosions. Yeah, knock it off.
We had last night 49 sightings. I think 20 of them were over 100. Now, those include, I think I saw one mistaken a fixed-wing aircraft, a plane, a small Piper Cub, for instance, for a drone, or you saw one, and that counts, and then I saw the same one, and that counts. So we think these are overstated, but it's a non-zero number. I was on with the White House and Homeland Security leadership literally at the very top yesterday for pretty much all day. I'm hoping we'll get answers sooner than later. I would just ask folks to continue to let the FBI or their local law enforcement know when they see something, and we'll continue to do everything we can with our federal partners to get clearer answers.
Why is it so hard to get answers?
These are apparently very, as I understand it, very sophisticated. The minute you get eyes on them, they go dark. And, you know, we're obviously most concerned about sensitive targets and sensitive critical infrastructure. So we've got military assets, we've got utility assets, we've got the president-elect's one of his homes here. This is something we're taking deadly seriously. We've gotten good cooperation out of the feds, but we need more.
All right, we get the point on that. Not gonna believe it. No way is nothing in American skies, and y'all don't know what it is. Hell, we're on this planet. Y'all all over the place. Anyway, let's move on to this. And Regina says, me, the Duke, they know exactly. Arnold says that Elon's silent on this topic. Interesting. Yeah, he's been he too busy to talk random stuff. He's still trying to talk. He's another one of those people. He's South African. I guess now he's an American citizen, but he spends so much time. It's always strange to me when people who are foreign come to this country and spend so much time trying to absolve this country of its history. This whole idea of moving on and, you know, trying to rewrite history here in this country and trying to paint a narrative. And you're not even from here, buddy, but I understand. He's trying to get power with Trump, trying to establish himself. It is what it is. Anyway. Okay. Says the Asian illegal throwing shit in the air. They know who's doing this. Yeah. Jayz is at war with the lawyer who Diddy accusers. Everything to know. This is Rolling Stone. As y'all already know, Jayz was accused and name was brought into a lawsuit involving Diddy and a young woman, 13-year-old at the time at least. She's now 38. She was 13 years old. She said that she was in Rochester, New York. She had a friend who I think they said was 20, don't quote me on that, who drove her to the VMA Awards, I believe. And she ended up meeting with the limo driver, and he told her he'll take her to the after party. She went to the after party, and there it was when Jay-Z and Diddy assaulted her. Jay-Z was named in the Jane Doe sexual assault lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs. The rapper vehemently denied the accusation and has since gone after the woman's attorney, Tony Busby. Tony Busby is the attorney that, as far as how I know him, who went after Deshaun Watson a few years ago when he played for the Houston Texans, where he had a whole bunch of women come out and say that he was paying them, women from Instagram, who he was paying to give him massages. And they would say that he would sexually harass or sexually assault them by taking their hand and placing it on his private area and forcing them to do certain things. And he ended up paying some of the women off. And now he's with this Cleveland Browns. So that's how I know him. But that story was strange because it just so happened that Tony Busby lived in the same neighborhood as the owner of the Houston Texans, which people started thinking was some type of conspiracy because Deshaun Watson asked for a trade, yada, yada, yada. But I was strange. He's trying to maintain the American dream. It's global hope for all whites. Yeah. I said the Jay-Z story is boring. Feel like media is trying to replace the OJ drama with something any black will do and nothing is sticking. Well, ever since Diddy's name, he's always been in the media, but ever since the Cassie situation happened, really a couple of years before that, Jay-Z's name has always been attached to being just a scumbag piece of shit. People have been wishing for his downfall, really his exposure, wishing for him to be exposed for 20 years now. And so when the Diddy thing happened, immediately, everybody who talked about Diddy, they would make sure to bring Jay-Z's name up in the story. Now, when this first dropped, oh boy, the internet was on his ass, all on every platform you can think of, whether it was Instagram, TikTok, YouTubers were streaming live, breaking down the whole case, reading all the stuff, and Twitter, or X and Facebook was all over the place. And I remember thinking immediately, I'm not trusting no case with Tony Busby as the lawyer. There's just no way. And it seems like I'm right. So people are content creators. Both. Both, definitely both. Rape allegations against Jay-Z won't impact NFL relationship with music mogul, Goodell says. Now, once again, this is all after what happened yesterday. So, before what happened yesterday. So this is when Goodell came out after the allegations and said, don't worry, our relationship is tight. We believe him, yada, yada, yada. Jay-Z lawyer claims his rape accuser lawyer pressured a woman to lie about Diddy. So immediately Jay-Z released his statement, and it was clear the attack was going to be on the lawyer and not the woman, which at the time we didn't know why, but now we do. And he pretty much said he convinced one of his clients to lie about something that happened with Diddy. And I kind of knew where it was going to go from there. And then we get here. Jay-Z rape accuser comes forward to NBC News and pretty much said that there was some things she said that wasn't quite true and something she misremembered. Hold on, I'm gonna reload this. Hold on. Said Jay-Z's story in the cash grab people are hoping it to be. He boring. His voice will be entertaining. They victim sound special needs. People don't care. Yeah, once she did his interview, it kind of tanked the entire, which is what don't make sense. Let's get in the conspiracy world for a second. I'm not gonna stay here long, don't worry. So you're telling me that a lawyer who does these type of cases all the time, civil cases, he wins a lot, apparently. He comes to Jay-Z and said, hey, pay us his money, we won't put your name in the files or in the lawsuit. Jay-Z says, fuck out my face. Apparently Jay-Z then threatens to sue or is going to sue him back, countersue him. He then comes out, however long later, and announced his name is in the papers. He's saying how he's a Marine and we know we are not going to be bullied by Jay-Z. And Jay-Z calls for the Jane Doe to be revealed. Said he doesn't want to be a civil case. He wanted it to be a legal case. We want this to go to trial. Somebody needs to be convicted for these heinous crimes. And then a few days later, somehow NBC News found out who the woman is, interview her. We're not even supposed to know her yet. She agrees to the interview. There's no way Tony Busby should agree for his client to do this interview. Never. So this don't even make sense. This whole situation seemed like it's meant to come forward so Jay-Z can absolutely blow it up, destroy it, so that anything else that may come down the line, they'll be able to look at this situation and see what he did to these people and decide not to do it. Let me just play this video of this interview, a little bit of this.
So you should always advocate for yourself and be a voice for yourself. You should never let what somebody else did run your life.
A 38-year-old mother from Alabama who has filed a lawsuit accusing Sean Diddy Combs and Jay-Z of raping her when she was 13 years old is speaking out to NBC News for the first time. She asked us not to reveal her identity.
What made you want to come forward and talk today?
Because I think that I've been quiet long enough about what I've been through, and it's been hard enough to be quiet. But it's a chapter of my life that I'd like to close.
An NBC News review of her account found inconsistencies with her allegations. Is that she went to the MTV Video Music Awards in 2000 to catch a glimpse of her favorite celebrities.
You weren't scared to be all alone?
No, with having autism is like feeling like you live your life in a shatterproof juggle ball. The world's on fire. The fire is inside the ball with you, but there's no way for you to get out.
In addition to having autism, the woman says she suffered a head injury. The night of the 2000s VMAs, she says a friend drove her from Rochester, New York to Manhattan, a more than 5-hour drive. Her attorney provided NBC News with the name of the friend who has since died. The woman says she spoke to Combs's limo driver who offered her a ride to an after party.
I stumbled upon Diddy's driver who told me that I was exactly what Diddy was looking for.
What did you...
Now, this don't make sense to me. Now, I haven't kept up with everybody that's accused Diddy. I think 3 more men have come out and accused Diddy. But a very strange part of the Diddy situation, it seems to be, you know, it is what it is. A white 13-year-old don't seem to be Diddy's thing. Diddy seemed to have been into black and male. I might be wrong on that. I haven't seen everyone that accused him. But it seems to be the exact opposite of what she is.
I think when he said that to you?
I thought it meant that I was just pretty.
She went to a White House, she says, where she spoke to musicians Benji Madden and his brother.
I'm talking to Benji Madden about his tattoo because, you know, I have about his tattoo that's the Last Supper because I have a religious background. So it was just something to talk about.
In a statement to NBC News, a representative of the Maddens confirmed that they did not attend the 2000 VMAs and that they were on tour in the Midwest at the time. At the after party, she says she had a drink that made her feel woozy. Then she says Combs and Carter took turns raping her while a female celebrity watched.
JC comes in and rapes me. He at that point I was fighting, trying to get away from him.
It's funny how, for me, all these rappers, Jay-Z has struggled to get a hold of the millennial or newer generation. That's why I've seen people are against him online, but we don't care. This drama might help him. Maybe so. I've seen a lot of his public perception has been pretty bad since the Dame Dash situation. People look at him as a backstabbing, you know, he's not loyal. He's somebody who's selfish, always do stuff that benefits him. But yeah.
And he put his hand over my mouth and told me to stop it, cut the.
After the alleged rape, she says she ran to a gas station where she called her father, who picked her up and drove her home.
We rode home in silence. He didn't ask me what happened. He didn't ask me what I did or where I was.
In an interview with NBC News, her father said he could not verify the claims. Quote, I felt like I would remember that, and I don't. I have a lot going on, but I mean, that's something that would definitely stick in my mind, he said.
All right, let's go ahead and pack this up. Like, once that happened, like, come on. Once the father says that, this is why I said this is a very strange situation, because there's no way that Tony Busby dude didn't vet what she said. If the father is saying, I don't remember this, why the hell would you even take on this? Don't make sense. Where's the witnesses? Where's any way she can prove this at all? Witness says this video is where Diddy is either standing next to a white woman or he had his arm around her, stating that he had adopted her into his family. Remember thinking, what? Or seemed off. Maybe so. You think that was this 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 woman right here, the white teenager? Father picking up a 13-year-old, driving 5 hours in the silence is the stupidest narrative ever crafted by a high-profile attorney. Did she wait 5 hours for her dad? Yeah, that's what don't make sense. If she's 5 hours away, that means she waited at the store for 5 hours. He got there. They drove for 5 hours. Nothing said. The father didn't have any questions why his autistic 13-year-old daughter is at an awards after party. What are we talking about? And I understand in the industry, we know that children or young girls and young boys, we know there's people that go out and scout to try and convince these young kids to come to these environments because they are predators and pedophiles. That exists. But there's no way as a father, this situation happens. And one, you don't remember that. You remember this. This will be a very prominent memory that you will forever remember what happened to your daughter. And how do you not, and I get it, she's autistic, so maybe she didn't have an understanding of the situation at the point, but there's no way he just don't ask questions. Virginia said, shit, her daddy likely took her to him. Now that's the part I was about to get to. R. Kelly. With Jay-Z, like I said, he has a bad public perception because of his business dealings, but also because there's some other behind the scenes things. People believe he's a Satanist. We see that he's attached himself to certain people. What's his name? The guy that Kanye was running around for a little bit, the rocker Satanist dude, Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson, the artist woman that's a Satanist that Jay-Z was hanging around, certain things he said in his song, so about his spiritual beliefs. So we know he was around R. Kelly. He has an album with him, went on tour with him. People who walk together typically think together. Anima says that part, Regina said she wasn't a woman, she was like 12, 13. So he was with a young 12, 13-year-old. Well, we'll find out if that was her or not. Anima says, why J-Lo not being mentioned? They were together in 2000. J-Lo has found a way to dip all these headlines, even though she's there. She's clearly in the files. They're just not using her name, but it's clearly her. But she found a way to just stay out of this, I guess. But I agree with you, Regina. If either the dad took money now, or he took money then, or this whole situation is fake. Adam says, did the rape make her autistic? This is a horrible parenting. 5 hours away, anywhere in the world. It's crazy for a 13-year-old alone. Now, hold on. Let's be honest. We know, well, I don't know if y'all had this experience growing up, but 13, 14-year-olds, that's when, if they're going to do it, that's when you start hearing about the whole sneaking out of the house and stuff. Let's not act like a 13-year-old can't get out of the house. I think we tended to forget what we knew when we were 13, 12, 11 years old. What we knew and what we were curious about at those ages, we tend to forget. Because as you get older, you realize you don't know nothing. But there was a lot of stuff you did know and were curious of at the time that a 13-year-old wanting to go to a quote-unquote party to meet a celebrity is not completely insane. Now, for a father to allow his daughter to disappear for 5 hours is where it gets strange. People say, yeah, no, I would have gotten beat. That's the thing. I said sneak out. I ain't say ask to go out. As teenagers, we can be very sneaky. We can be very slick with what we find a way to learn patterns of your parents and dip out. We don't know what the father was into. Was he working or at his job? We don't know. When she disappeared, was it a normal time she wouldn't be there at a neighbor's house or something? I don't know. New York is 90 minutes away from me. That's not happening. 5 hours away from me isn't normal. I didn't say it's normal. I said it happens. We just not gonna act like a 13, 12-year-old, 14-year-old don't do stupid stuff like this. Especially an autistic young lady. This is something she might end up doing. Anyway, Jay-Z says inconsistencies in rape accuser story proves her attorney was looking for money and fame. So he's calling for the whole thing to be thrown out, obviously. and it probably will. But yeah, I want to play this right quick.
Now, in the civil suit paperwork, Art, according to Tony Busby, what he read, her attorney based in Houston, Texas.
Virginia says, my son was born with Down syndrome, and I really let him out of my sight. He's 36. I love seeing some weird parenting amongst the vulnerable population. Yeah. Unfortunately, in certain environments and upbringings, people who have those situations, they're not usually. People can be neglectful. Obviously, I'll leave it at that. I'm saying everyone getting beat to death, Keith. That's crazy in the Black America. It's not happening. She's not black. It's a white girl. That's the thing, y'all. It's a white girl. But then said, "Have not loved Siri." Adam says, "Can we retire this man from 2025?" Never, Honorable, never.
According to the civil suit, she demands a jury trial. That really caught me, Art. I was surprised at that. She's demanding a jury trial. Why am I surprised? Because, Art, if she's demanding a jury trial, she's going to have to take the stand.
Well, this is the same thing that Cassie did. When she wanted to go to jury trial, she tried to use the excuse that the reason why she wanted a jury trial is because Diddy got judges in his pocket. As I always say, Roy Cohen told y'all, I don't care about the law, just tell me who the judge is.
She has to testify. Remember, the only people who can plead the fifth are the people being accused of the crime. Jay-Z can plead the fifth. Sean Combs can plead the fifth because they are the defendants. She is bringing the case. So do you know what that means? She's going to have to take the stand, Art. And I'm saying to myself, are you sure you want to do this if it's not true? And it could be true. I want to be honest about this. I don't know if she's telling the truth or not. I'm going to look at this from both sides. And if the sister is telling the truth, Art, I pray to God she get every penny she wants. I pray to God that those who assaulted her get the worst karma that's out here in the universe. Nobody should ever abuse a child. There's nothing worse than a sexual assault of a woman. There's no crime worse than the sexual assault of a woman. There's no crime worse than the abuse of a child. And when you combine them, Art, sex assault of a female with sex abuse of a child, that's the worst crime on the planet Earth. So if that lady is innocent, I pray to God she get all the help she's entitled to. I pray to God she get every penny that she's suing for, and any karma that comes to those who are responsible for that, they deserve it. So I will never defend anybody against injustice.
Honorable says his wardrobe getting from African American urban less Dutch wax fabric. He getting money from the interviews, y'all, and still no damn school in sight. Well, no, he still got the Eye of Horus and all the other stuff on his jacket. It's still very Egyptian, I guess. Honestly, if true Jay-Z hiding the autistic son and his karma be, oh yeah, the son. We're gonna get to the son too. And another thing that Umar brought up in this, I'm gonna fast forward. Hold on.
But if she is for the same and worse, and Vince McMahon ain't never been arrested yet.
Vince McMahon settled a lot. Had a whole doc come out showing what he was doing. And it's kind of been, because he paid it off, obviously, it's starting to get swept under the rug now.
For the same and worse. And Vince McMahon case is only one state away in Connecticut. So it's not like he's on the other side of the country. They one state away. Puffy gets denied bail 3 times. Vince McMahon ain't even been arrested. You know why they doing this? This is all about intimidation. This is all about humiliation. Humiliation and intimidation. They are sending a loud message to Black celebrities. You are not above the law. You have no more power than any other Black person. You will do what we say, and if you don't, we will destroy you. They're showing us.
I think it's time for us to retire this thing where every time a celebrity is accused of something like this, it's because, they was going to buy NBC. Not every situation like this is because of somebody trying to, put a whooping on a Black celebrity. Sometimes it's just the relationships fell apart. And like always, the same thing happened with Weinstein and all these other people. Once you do something behind the scenes, it has nothing to do with your race, it's business. And also it could just be, in some cases, people just fall through the cracks and is able to point out some of the sick stuff that's going on in the industry. It is what it is. Let me move through the rest of this. All right. Another thing I thought was funny was this. Beyonce donates $100K to Houston Law Center amid Jay-Z's legal challenges. I saw somewhere that this legal center that she donated to apparently has some affiliation with Busby. So this people was calling this intimidation as well. Dame Dash on Jay-Z lawsuit. Cat Williams looks like a fortune teller. Why are people that are looked at to be imbalanced are saying these things and they're happening? Let me play this.
Get into it. What do you think about the Jay allegations that came out?
Well, I can say this. I've been looking at the news, and a couple of weeks ago I saw that, that attorney had got sued for extortion, and I saw the lawyers that were on the case, and I saw that Alex Shapiro, or whatever his name is. So I was like, damn, homie might be jammed up or be a part of that. But I didn't think too much of it. I was definitely surprised at the long statement because, I've been to court with homeboy and he doesn't say anything. He never responds. He has his lawyer speak. So I know that it must bother him because he actually said something in the length of the statement, And it was funny because Honor Up just came out the night before, and I'm hearing words like honor in the statement. But again, for me, I have nothing to do with it, and I'm trying to look at it objectively like everyone else is. So for me, it's like, of course, people are going to be in the bots, the stupid ass bots, and people that are just I don't know, but they're going to be always talking about him again. But right now, the whole world is talking about him every day, all day. So then it made me think about being famous and how dangerous that is, because they're really, they're doing the same thing that happened with Puff as far as the way the algorithm is. To me, it's worse. And they're scrutinizing every single thing from the last 20, 30 years.
Yeah, they started bringing up Foxy Brown, too. Amos says, it's hilarious how this group wants us to believe as individuals they are so influential over people that the government wants them. If true, why is it the same tactics of rape allowed to be used? Yeah, he went on to say, I think this was his response to the, obviously, allegations and stuff, but he made the point to say, everybody is immediately hearing this story and bringing up Cat Williams' name, and I'm still wondering if Cat Williams is going to do that follow-up interview with Shannon Sharp. Honorable says, rip Dame's ego and teeth. Foxy Brown brought herself up with those posts. Nobody thinking about her. No, they definitely was people. I ain't gonna say just content creators. Were definitely making sure they brought her up in her age, and when they said Jay was dealing with her, whether he was or not. He said rip. Virginia says sex, drugs, and rock and roll is the playbook for those seeking power. Rinse, wash, repeat. Jay-Z's legal team reportedly preparing lawsuit against Jaguar Wright. For a long time, Jaguar Wright has been going around saying a lot of things, accusing Jay-Z of a lot of things, especially when the Diddy stuff really came through. A lot of stuff she said 4 or 5 years ago, people brought back up. She constantly going viral for all the stuff she said. Then she started saying even more things, how she said she was on the tape, one of Diddy's tapes. She brought up Jay-Z and said that he assaulted her, even though now she's saying that that's not true, that those videos are AI or whatever, deep fakes. So she seemingly is coming and backpedaling on a lot of the stuff she said after these lawsuits, because she thinks, I think a lot of people believe, and it was reported by some unreliable sources that Jay is thinking about suing her, and I always said he will never do that. When she went on Piers Morgan and made those comments, they didn't even mention her. They went after Piers Morgan to say, get rid of this interview and apologize publicly. He did. I think that if he did go after her, he wouldn't go for her directly. He would go for the Real Life Productions, the YouTube channel she be's on, and a couple other platforms that bring her on, and they would sue them, tell them to take the videos down. Pretty much they would deplatform her. They wouldn't sue her directly. They would just sue anybody that would allow her to go on the platform. That way she would just kind of be forced to go out like a fire. Honorable says, but the blacks are never fully seeking power, Regina, just sexual access. That's why they run back to broke so fast. Honorable said, this woman is embarrassing. Retire her as well. It's looking bad for her right now. Like a lot of the videos and interviews she did, she's now coming out saying that it's fake and people are trying to take her down and get her sued. She's saying she got proof of other things or whatever, but not looking good for her. According to the media takeout, once again, an unreliable source, Wright has retracted all negative statements about the rapper, asserting that any such comments attributed to her were manipulated or edited, possibly with AI. Facing legal pressure, she now denies ever making salacious remarks against the hip-hop star. Yeah, it's kind of how it goes when shit get hot. And it's unfortunate that the stove just went to low heat. Like, it ain't even getting hot yet, and people just folding this quick. You got to stand on it. Somebody got to be willing to stand on it if he's really doing this wicked stuff. Jay-Z's abusive practices allegedly allegations resurfaced with old clips of singer Jaguar Wright.
Who you think is next on the chopping block? Because I believe there's a chopping block, and there might be.
Oh, there is. Sean Carter. They're trying to avoid him. I'm going to make sure they can't. I have a total of 9 witnesses that are about to start coming forward.
Well, you need them now. Regina says, what you said is true, and I also wonder if there's a certain black who is in power just behind the scenes. They're above the boule, the other blacks, as you described. Honorable says, where is her husband? Why is the leadership in that household? How much is she being paid for interviews? This needs to be public record. You can't cook spirit without bodies, just saying. You can't spirit cook without bodies, just saying. Oh, yeah. Let's move on. Quick Diddy's thing. Diddy Combs drops bail appeal, will remain in jail until trial. So after 3 attempts, he just tapped out and said, I'll just stay in here until the trial. Which it is strange. I guess they're saying he's a threat to people, he's intimidating witnesses or whatever. But it is strange that somebody of his level of wealth and fame is being denied bail this public. I'm surprised they're doing it this way. Then Will Smith came out and said this.
Bullshit. I ain't been nowhere near that man. I ain't did none of that stupid shit. So whenever y'all hear it, if somebody say that, it's a damn lie. I don't even like Baby White.
Well, we don't believe you. You need more people.
Shout out, Regina. I had to play it for you. Yeah, it's funny how for years we've seen them rant and rave about these parties that Diddy threw. Years. And now all of a sudden, every last person in the industry left early. Oh, man. All right. I don't say it's strange that he would personally be making these calls to people. Was he so famous that he missed crime dump? No, what it is it's not that they think he's calling people. He's calling people that are connected to the people. He's telling them they believe that he's intimidated them through a third party. So they don't want him to have access to anything outside, so he can't move around the way he wants to because they believe that just his presence alone being outside would scare people. Kiva says, no, he's with Lisa's ex. Oh, shit. Man, it's so crazy. It's so crazy how there's so many, you know how, unfortunately for some of us in our families, there's so many like family secrets that nobody makes a fuss about. Like, there's some crazy shit, stuff associated with family members and nobody say nothing. They just act like it doesn't happen. It didn't happen or you don't know about it. The same thing with the industry. There's a lot of open secrets that exist and we just act like we didn't hear it. This whole Will Smith and what's his name thing been going on for the longest. That rumor, and it's just there. Nobody says anything. Nobody really addresses it head on. It's just a rumor at this point. Honorable says, I believe you will. They try to use the goofy wife against you because they had nothing. Who's Lisa? We got a last name now. Mark says that P Dom didn't as one of the Temptation video is funny. Keeper said Lisa and Tasha's ex. I mean, hold on. You mean Tisha? I'm sorry, Tisha Campbell. Is that her name? I might be right. I think it's her name. It's his name, Dwayne. What's his name? I think it's Dwayne. That rumor been going around for 20, 25 years. It's crazy. Yeah, Lisa Ray. That's it. Lisa Ray. It says my family must be boring, child. We don't have no family secrets. People don't even need to be drunk or upset to tell you they don't fuck with you. I love it. Dwayne Martin, yeah. Dwayne Martin and Tisha Campbell, you got it, man. Yeah. Yeah, Dwayne Martin, and there's a rumor, and I don't want to, get into this, the whole, accusing a black man or something like this. But it's a thing that Will Smith and Dwayne Martin have some type of dealings behind the scenes, apparently. I've heard a lot of stuff about that whole I remember when black people were running around saying Will and Jada love and how that's the perfect relationship. How that's the relationship they look forward to. And there was rumors about what is the name of the show that Jada Pinkett was doing? I forgot the name of that show with the Spanish dude. I forgot the name of the show, but there's a rumor that she was laying up with that dude. Remember when she was remember when Jada Pinkett had a rock band and all the other stuff? It's a lot of stuff going on with that family. So the fact that it was that went public about their relationship. Hawthorne, I think that's it. No, it was another one, wasn't it? That was her only one, I think. Yeah, Hawthorne, I think it is. We said the trouble with us versus Hollywood, we tend to judge them by our standards, yet they don't live by a typical type of life. They promote what their hedonism. Yeah. They don't follow regular people rules. They created their own standards. Hold on, y'all. All right, let's move on to this. It says Dwayne and the Prime Minister are okay. I just watched the Lisa Ray interview. Her weaponizing her relationship with her father against her mother always made me not like her. Yeah. All right, let's move on. Run to this right here. Who is Jay-Z's alleged illegitimate son? Here's all about Ramir, Satterthwaite, and his mother. I'm not gonna go into this one. This is an old story. This dude been saying for years that Jay-Z is his father. A few years ago, it became probably the most attention it's ever gotten. And he was asking for a DNA test. And Jay-Z declined the test. Said, no, I'm not doing it. Which any lawyer would tell a man with that type of money and resources, never do a DNA test because no, ever. Do y'all think he looked like him or you think he reached? But I saw some people say that this don't mean anything because there's a whole bunch of people in New York that look like Jay-Z. So I don't know, man. Honorable said, big nose. That's anti-black, Honorable. Make fun of black. There's a resemblance. Yeah, you look like him. I'm gonna be honest. Especially, let me show this one in particular. Hold on. I can't lie. You look at this, come on. Once again, this don't mean everything because people look like people. There's somebody in this world that look like you. It is what it is. You never met them, never know them. They in another country, speak a different language, different culture, and they probably look just like you. So, but yeah, there's there's something there. People say, what does he have to hide? Take the test. Well, he's hiding his money. He's hiding his resources. If he does this DNA test and it's proven that he is the father, immediately all type of things he's going to be asked to pay back. I don't know, child support. He's going to be able to sue. He can sue him then because he denied to give him the DNA test. And it's a lot of stuff that can go on. It's a lot of money you can lose. That'll be your firstborn son as far as we know at that point. It is a lot he'll be awarded for that. He said lips, nose. Yeah, definitely got the lips and the nose. Says like he's not just saying it. Why Beyonce husband refusing to DNA test? I don't see no damn Jay-Z walking around New York. These people lying. We don't see this every day. All right.
Well, we don't believe you. You need more people.
People says he can afford it. He can, but he can't. Mark Gordon said, "Why knows having." Hey man, Jay-Z be getting y'all be mocking that black man's black features. By the way, it's very anti-black of y'all. I don't see all the jokes, the camel jokes. He been getting it for a long time, man. I said Beyonce don't want to be one that to be his first child. It don't work with the narrative that crafted. Well, didn't she say she had a on that what's that album Lemonade? Didn't she say she had a miscarriage or something? Yeah, it's a lot going on with that relationship. Then she got accused of being a witch and going inside of a woman's cat. It's a lot of crazy stuff with that family. Like this story right here. I'm not gonna read the story. I'm gonna read the headline. Who is Kathy White? That's another person whose social media people and content creators kept bringing up. This Kathy White woman. I never heard of her until this situation happened with this lawsuit or his name and put in these documents. The subject of a wild fan theories about Jay-Z, the late publicist, was in a film with Kim Kardashian and Chris Pratt, and fans think Beyonce's song Daughter could be about her. Apparently, Jay-Z had an affair with her, and not too long after she passed away. So, gonna leave that alone. Honorable says that the type of ugly, that type of ugly ain't just walking around in New York. Those are by ethnic features. Don't try and put those on African American. That knows from the Caribbean. Jay-Z is Black American. Jay-Z in none of his songs and none of his media has ever claimed to be anything other than Black American. Please don't give Jay-Z, try to give Jay-Z to other people. If he yours, he yours. You got to stick with him. I'm not even gonna play this. I was gonna play this video of what's her name, Drea, the R. Kelly's ex-wife, who be getting people been on her ass because they blaming her for what happened to the kids and how you didn't do enough to help them. She came out calling herself, defending herself. I ain't even gonna play it. I believe the Kathy story, paying millions and locking parents out of the hospital to hide the surrogate. Hey man. And Candace Owens says she has a Caribbean bias. She can't speak bad about them, but she'll kick Black Americans back in quickly. All right. Let's move on. Honorable says Jay-Z mother is not African American, that woman Caribbean. His father, who he didn't know, is the only trace back to the Carolinas. His mother came out and said she's not African American, or you just believe she's not because of how she looks? Because of how she looked. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Supreme Court shuts down immigration loophole on sham marriages. We talked about this already. They're trying to get rid of this idea of being able to get married and become a citizen. They're trying to get rid of birthright citizenship. Trump said in an interview he's getting rid of all that. He's trying to get everybody up out of here. I seem to be and it's clear to me that based off of his what he's saying post-election, he believed this is the number one thing that got him elected. This is the main thing he's pushing after the election. Virginia says, I wager that if folks is living in Brooklyn, there's a high probability they're from the islands. Well, is that true back in the 70s and 80s? I don't know if that's the case back then. Now, yeah. I say post 85 up until the 90s, yeah. But I think the overwhelming majority up until the early 80s was Black American. But it's still the case now. Majority is still Black American. Anyway, the Supreme Court closes on major immigration loophole Tuesday by ruling that the Department of Homeland Security Secretary has discretion to revoke visa restrictions without judicial review. In a 12-page unanimous decision written by the Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, the court ruled that this case that Congress granted under the DHS Secretary broad authority to revoke and approve visa petition at any time for what he deems to be good and sufficient cause. Such a revocation, Jackson wrote, is thus in the direction of the agency in section 1252. Yada, we get it. The case involved, whatever. Honorable says that the only mention of the father being from the Carolinas, that they never mentioned anything about the mother, but she gay with a white Latinx girlfriend. Goofy did use her story as 444 rollout in Jamaica. He also had a song from back in the day that said that she was, are you talking about the Sunshine? Is it Sunshine? Is that the name of the song? Let me play this.
My name is Forder Toure. I am a DACA recipient, a prosecutor, a husband, and a dad. And without question, a patriot.
This isn't a citizen. I saw somebody say last week, how the hell is people who aren't even citizens of the country coming over here and gaining so much say-so in government and legislation and stuff? This is crazy. Let me play this too.
This election process was when young Black men would call in to explain why it was that they had turned
You said they cherry-picked the story. What you mean?
on the Democratic Party. And I find their perspective incredibly important and very interesting. And I feel that they were just kind of left behind by the Democratic Party. And, you know, one of the things that would come up over and over again was the immigration issue. And I'm not under the impression at all that these are anti-immigrant individuals, but people living in places like Chicago, for instance, who have seen their resources, which are usually used to nickel and dime the local Black community there, essentially be used for the influx of migrants who came in. Federal government, run by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, just kind of neglected the issue and allowed these municipalities to struggle with the issue on their own. And the thing that frustrates me, Charlemagne, is that if you are someone who identifies as on the left, regardless of where you fall on that left-wing spectrum, if you have the audacity to bring up this very real issue, well, I mean, you know how Sonny Hostin will treat you if you bring it up on The View, right? And I think that's an issue. I think that's a problem. The Democrats seem to not ever want to do a little bit of self-reflection to understand, okay, what can we do better the next time around? Instead, I see them kind of lashing out and blaming everyone else for the loss. What do you think?
Oh, I agree. I was a victim of it. I mean, they lost that battle a couple of years ago. I remember a couple of years ago when Governor Greg Abbott and Governor Ron DeSantis were putting, you know, the migrants on buses and planes and sending them to so-called sanctuary cities. And then, you know, as soon as they got there, those so-called sanctuary cities, they weren't so sanctimonious, were they? They were literally saying, hey, no, send them back. You can't come. And I said back then, I thought that was evil genius. Yes, it was inhumane and cruel to do that, but on the flip side, you did say you were sanctuary cities, and you did say you wanted these people until you got them. And so then when they realized it was an issue and they were saying don't come, it made the Republicans look like they had it right the whole time.
Well, exactly. And TYT, I don't know if y'all watch this consistently. I don't really watch this consistently, but I've seen clips here and there for the past couple months, and their obvious turn from being on the left wing, quote unquote, to the more center right wing is pretty obvious. That Anna woman, she almost was smiling on the election night when Trump won, but now you're seeing these quote unquote left leaning platforms kind of have these quote unquote, because it's not really right wing, but these quote unquote right wing talking points. Almost says all of the 444 interviews were about his mother being openly gay, but them not talking about, only acknowledging it. What the F? He says, how many undocumented are productive members of society not leeching off the state? Well, yeah, that clip went viral not because people were celebrating him being an immigrant and being quote unquote productive. They were saying, how is he in any way of influence and he's not even a citizen? Adam says, TYT has always been right wing with a low key anti-black views. Don't understand why this shift is surprising to people. Not me at all. I noticed it a couple years ago when Jimmy Dore left. And he said it, how they was getting $20 million in donation and their job was to go more center, which would be okay if you were trying to be more down the middle, truth, pretty much. If you were trying to be truthful, which is kind of what they're trying to do now with this type of stuff, that's no big deal, but it's kind of clear that they're grifting at this point. Oh, by the way, I got to show something. Speaking of going red, I don't know if I have her name. There's the woman in Chicago, hold on, who was protesting Brennan Johnson because she wanted a Republican mayor. Hold on, let me find. Can I find her? Hold on, y'all. Hold on. I'm sorry.
One thing you gotta know.
Sorry.
I'ma be a nigga for life.
I'm just gonna move on. I can't find it. Whatever. Anyway, I started watching after she tried to call out Kendrick for the white girl saying the N-word on stage at the show. She said people are not messing with them like that. Tink running for the office exposed the reality of what people think of them. Literally no support. Crazy showing up to the Breakfast Club sounding crazy. Jaleel White. Hold on. Now I gotta find it. All right, here you go. Let me play this.
Ma'am, I would ask that you
keep
your. Hold on a second. Stop her time. Stop her time. Just a second. Just a second.
Some of y'all say y'all willing to go to jail for it. Trump, Tom Homan, make an example of this Negro right here first. Please come here first, because you know what? We're going to help you. We want a forensic
Ma'am, I would
audit.
ask that you
keep your.
Hold on a second. Stop her time. Stop her time. Just a second. Just a second. Stop her time. Ma'am, I would ask that you, if you want to continue speaking, you have to make sure that your language is appropriate, okay? All right.
Alex,
Okay, you can begin her time again.
you're going to spend our tax dollars to go, Michael Rodriguez, you said to take Trump to court to protect these illegals. You said you're going to spend our tax dollars to take Trump to court to protect these illegals if they try to come in here in your district. And then you said all of y'all in cahoots with each other to do it. Okay, so now we about to make y'all famous. We're going to let all y'all constituents know who y'all ratting for, that y'all wouldn't spend our tax dollars to protect illegals and to get them legal services. So that's what we're doing. That's cool, because we about to make all of y'all aldermen famous. Y'all think this is how it's going to rat? I think not.
So shout out to her. She went on that rant and people still with her. But she's went viral again for other reasons. Hold on. I gotta show this. I'm not gonna be able to find it. For some reason, it's not even popping up, so it's whatever. I'm saying the stress of this Tetherface is hilarious. Anytime I see clips of him, he's not very laughing. Yeah, he definitely be looking stressed out. Definitely. Why the hell can't I find this person? All right, it's whatever. Anyway, let's get to this. We're going to get up out of here. Let's skip that too. All right. Biden unlikely to ban menthol cigarettes despite urging from health officials. Remember, we talked about this, how they said that the menthol cigarettes affects the Black community. But he's saying a new Surgeon General report said the federal ban could save tens of thousands of lives, particularly among Black smokers. But Biden said Biden is less likely to actually ban it. I actually think he should, honestly. But as a non-smoker, I guess I can say that. Congress will have a record-setting number of Black members in its ranks next year. The Congressional Black Caucus, with 62 Democratic members, plans to act as a counterweight to the Trump administration, says Representative Gregory Meeks of New York. I think we're officially past the black people in positions of power just because they black and supporting them. So Congressional Black Caucus, we've been saying for the longest, it just needs to go. It's over. What is this? Canadian official threatens to cut off energy to the United States. He said if Trump puts tariffs on them, they're going to put some back. Canada would retaliate against President-elect Donald Trump's threatened tariffs by shutting down energy flows to the United States, a top Canadian official warned. I'm confused about this because if I'm not mistaken, before the election of 2020, America was energy. They weren't energy dependent on anybody else. They had their own. So I'm wondering, because Biden, during the election, remember he gave all that energy out, opened up the energy to allow it to go throughout the country because of so-called open the reserves and all the other stuff because of gas prices, trying to bring the gas prices down. And now they're back energy dependent on other people. And him saying he's going to do this, well, wouldn't Trump just do what he did already and he wouldn't need the energy? Honorable says if a majority of men, it's more of the same. If majority are men, it's more the same. All right. I don't think the black women, part of the Black Caucus, are any better than the men, honestly. I haven't seen anything that would say they're better.
About it, as I mentioned to the Prime Minister, the rest of the premiers, we need to be ready. We need to be ready to fight. This fight is coming 100% on January the 20th or January 21st. We don't know what extent this fight's going to go to, but we need to line up everything that we're going to tariff and make sure that the tariff, the money that's coming from these tariffs, don't go into a federal bank account sitting there somewhere. It needs to be immediately distributed right across the province equally, and we'll be able to support the companies, the factories, the workers for any issues that they're facing at the time.
Now, I remember I saw some people saying, I've seen a lot of these countries like Mexico and now Canada coming out against Trump and willing to seem like they're willing to step against America with this whole idea. They're trying to test the limits of how crazy they could talk to Trump and being anti-Trump. I just don't think it's going to end well for them, more than likely. Virginia says, agree regarding the Black Caucus. Nothing good comes from them, both genders. Honorable says, most of the women are tethers and pledged to outpack, so you are correct. People says, if you got Trudeau out of there, they'll be fine. It's looking like he's probably going to lose, more than likely. But they said the guy coming in, better, so who knows. Good Entertainment, the agency with Jeffrey Wright. Is that you talking about a TV show? Is that a TV show you mean? I'm not sure. All right, how long we been going now? 2 hours. All right, that's good. 2 hours. Says seems like they ain't crazy. Trump has the American support according to the number. They got to move right. Yeah, apparently Trump's approval rating is the highest it's ever been for him. He's getting his most approval, his highest approval rating now. Yes, a new series for consideration. Oh, check it out. The Agency. I think I might have saw that the name of that. I might be misremembering. But yeah. Anyway, we talked about it all. Jay-Z and all this stuff going on. Looks like he's gonna get out of this one. If you're gonna come at somebody like Jay-Z, considering the lawyers that he had with Alex Shapiro and all those guys, coming with Tony Busby was just I just thought it was stupid the whole time. So the only doubt is Palestinian Goofy. Yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, this Jay-Z thing, I don't know if it's gonna be completely over now, but it's looking like it is. But who knows? Over the weekend, something always happens, so we'll see. But it's a good show, Duke and Chat. Have a strong end to everyone versus a weak one till you reset come Monday. All right, thank y'all for coming through. Sitting here having a conversation. Boring. All right, it's gonna get real exciting if it comes through. We'll see. But anyway, man, thank y'all for coming through, spending time to have a conversation. Really appreciate the support. Be sure to like it on your way out if you will. Share it if you can. And as always, man, y'all be safe. All praise to the Most High. And peace, man.